Hi, I'm Charly Young, CEO and co-founder of the Girls Network. Firstly, I'd like to wish you a very happy International Women's Day. The theme this year is Choose to Challenge, and as a female CEO and founder, I find I'm often challenging people's expectations of me. However, I think the best example of when I chose to challenge was back in 2013, when Becca and I set up the Girls Network and chose to challenge the expectations that other people and the girls themselves had about what they could achieve and what they could go on to do. Becca and I were both teachers in North West London, teaching in some of the most disadvantaged schools in the country. And we were working with absolutely fantastic young people, but quickly saw a double disadvantage facing the girls in our classroom. That brought about by the expectations that they and other people had about how they should behave, the kinds of things they should aspire to. And also because they were coming from communities often where adults weren't working or were doing jobs to bring in money rather than pursuing careers that they were passionate about. And often women were working in lower status, lower paid jobs. All incredibly important, but not necessarily the things that the girls aspired to. We had girls that wanted to be scientists, criminal psychologists, girls that wanted to be authors or musicians. And where they saw nobody like them doing that, they wrote those futures out. They thought, that's not for me. And we thought, this is incredibly unfair and we have to be able to do something about it. We see how fantastic they are. We can see how much potential they've got. There's got to be something we can do. And so we chose to challenge that narrative. We brought in women we knew from previous careers, from university, from lots of different backgrounds, working in lots of different settings and careers, and had an evening where the girls could meet the women, speed networking. And it was fantastic. The impact on the girls, talking to women that they could relate to and starting to see a link between where they were and where the women were. And that sense of possibility that came about just changed the way they saw themselves and the way they saw their futures. And we just thought, if you can do that in a couple of hours, how much more could you do if you harnessed that energy and experience and care from the women and channeled it to the girls that would benefit from it the most? And that's where the mentoring program was born. And now we work with over 1,200 girls a year across the country, matching them all one-to-one with a professional woman who acts as a mentor to build skills and confidence, but also to open up networks and opportunities that the girls otherwise wouldn't have access to, so they can be ambitious for their futures and we can support them to realise those ambitions. So we can choose to challenge that old narrative and support them to do whatever it is that they want to do. And so that for me is one of the biggest examples of when I choose to challenge. My top tip for choosing to challenge is to remember that you are doing it to bring about positive change. Sometimes it can feel really uncomfortable challenging something. Sometimes it can feel like a personal attack on the person you're talking to. But actually, often that person perhaps doesn't know what they're doing is unhelpful or is wrong. And by remembering that, you are choosing to challenge to support the many, many other people that are perhaps suffering from that injustice, that gender inequality, that unfair system. Actually, you're doing an incredibly important thing. So that would be my top tip. So I encourage you all to choose to challenge.